There are 5 betrayals you should never ignore, not because you are bitter, unforgiving, or holding on to anger, but because some actions reveal a person's true character more clearly than any words ever could. Many people spend years giving second chances to those who repeatedly hurt them, hoping that love, patience, and understanding will eventually produce change. Sometimes change does happen, but sometimes the painful truth is that the betrayal itself is the message. It is not a misunderstanding. It is not a temporary lapse in judgment. It is a window into who that person really is and what place you truly hold in their life. One of the most important lessons you can learn is that forgiveness and access are not the same thing. You can forgive someone in your heart and still decide they no longer have the right to occupy the same space in your life. You can let go of resentment without reopening the door to repeated pain. And you can choose peace without choosing proximity. By the end of this video, you will understand why protecting your peace sometimes requires accepting what a betrayal is trying to teach you. The first betrayal you should never ignore is the betrayal of silence when you are being attacked. There are few experiences more painful than discovering that someone you trusted stood by and watched while your name was being damaged. Perhaps people were spreading rumors about you at work, criticizing your intentions, or questioning your integrity. Maybe false accusations were being made, and someone who knew the truth said nothing. They did not defend you. They did not correct the lie. They did not even privately check on you afterward. At first, you may be tempted to justify their behavior. You may tell yourself they were trying to avoid conflict, that they felt uncomfortable, or that they did not know what to say. But silence in moments like these is rarely neutral. When someone has the opportunity to stand with you and chooses to remain quiet, they are making a decision. Their comfort becomes more important than your protection. Their desire to avoid tension outweighs their loyalty to you. True support is not measured only by kind words in private. It is revealed in difficult moments when defending you may come with social consequences. The people who genuinely care about you may not fight every battle, but they will not comfortably watch others tear you down. Silence in the face of injustice often speaks louder than any insult because it tells you exactly where you stand. When someone remains quiet while you are being attacked, their silence is not an absence of action. It is an action in itself, and it is one you should take seriously. The second betrayal you should never ignore is repeated harm disguised as mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. We all say the wrong thing, act carelessly, or fail to consider how our actions affect others. Healthy relationships require grace because no one is perfect. But there is a critical difference between a mistake and a pattern. A mistake happens once and is followed by accountability, genuine remorse, and meaningful change. A pattern happens over and over again, usually accompanied by apologies that sound sincere but produce no different results. The same boundary is crossed repeatedly. The same wound is reopened again and again. The same promises are made and broken. Over time, you begin to realize that their words are not evidence of change. Their actions are. Imagine someone who constantly lies to you, dismisses your feelings, or disappears whenever you need them most. Each time, they apologize and explain why it will be different next time. But next time always looks exactly like the last. At some point, you have to stop measuring their intentions and start measuring their behavior. Patterns are choices. Repeated behavior is one of the clearest indicators of what someone is willing to continue doing to you. If they know their actions hurt you and they continue anyway, they are showing you that your pain is not enough to motivate change. That realization can be difficult, especially when you care deeply for them. But caring about someone does not obligate you to endure the same injury indefinitely. If they keep hurting you in the same way, they are not learning from their mistakes. They are rehearsing them. The third betrayal you should never ignore is when someone turns your pain into gossip. Vulnerability is one of the most precious gifts you can offer another person. When you open up about your fears, insecurities, failures, and private struggles, you are placing trust in their hands. You are believing that your honesty will be met with compassion and confidentiality. But some people do not listen to understand. They listen to collect information. They store your wounds like ammunition, waiting for an opportunity to share them as entertainment, leverage, or social currency. Perhaps you confided in a friend about financial difficulties, a family conflict, or a painful relationship experience, only to discover later that your private story had become a topic of conversation among others. The betrayal is not just that they repeated your words, it is that they treated your pain as material rather than something sacred. They transformed your trust into gossip. This kind of betrayal cuts especially deep because it makes you question your judgment. It can leave you feeling exposed, embarrassed, and reluctant to trust again. But it also provides a valuable lesson. Not everyone who asks about your life deserves full access to your inner world. Some people are curious, but not caring. They want information, but not intimacy. Genuine friends protect your vulnerability as carefully as they would protect their own. They understand that trust is a responsibility, not a privilege to be exploited. When someone broadcasts your pain for the benefit of others, they are revealing that they value attention more than they value your well-being. That is not friendship, it is exploitation. The fourth betrayal you should never ignore is the inability to celebrate your success. One of the most revealing moments in any relationship occurs when your life begins to improve. You achieve a goal, receive recognition, start a thriving business, build a healthy relationship, or experience a breakthrough after years of struggle. In those moments, the people around you have a choice. They can rejoice with you, support your growth, and take pride in your progress, or they can become distant, critical, and strangely uncomfortable. Some people are happy to stand beside you when you are struggling because your struggles do not threaten their sense of significance. But when you begin to rise, their insecurity surfaces. They compare rather than celebrate. They minimize your achievements. They change the subject. They offer backhanded compliments. They subtly suggest you have changed, become arrogant, or are forgetting your roots. Their words may sound supportive on the surface, but their energy reveals something different. They are not inspired by your success. They are unsettled by it. This is envy disguised as loyalty. It is one of the most painful betrayals because it comes from people you expected to be genuinely happy for you. Real supporters do not compete with your progress. They do not resent your blessings. They understand that your success does not diminish their worth. Instead, they applaud your victories and encourage you to keep growing. When someone cannot celebrate your progress, they are showing you that their attachment to you may depend on you remaining small enough to make them comfortable. And any relationship that requires your stagnation is a relationship that cannot support your future. The fifth betrayal you should never ignore is the expectation that everything should return to normal after trust has been broken. This is perhaps the most dangerous betrayal because it often hides behind the language of forgiveness. Someone hurts you deeply. They lie, deceive, abandon, or disrespect you, and then expect that a simple apology should restore their previous place in your life. They assume forgiveness means immediate reinstatement. They want the same level of trust, the same emotional closeness, and the same unrestricted access, even though they have done nothing to rebuild what they destroyed. But trust does not work that way. Forgiveness is an internal decision to release bitterness and protect your peace. Trust is an external process that must be earned through consistent, observable change. These are two very different things. You can forgive someone and still maintain distance. You can let go of resentment while also recognizing that your future requires stronger boundaries. Restoring someone to the same position without evidence of transformation is not compassion. It is self-neglect. It sends the message that your boundaries are flexible and your pain carries no lasting consequence. Healthy relationships are built on accountability, not entitlement. When someone betrays you and expects full access without doing the work to regain trust, they are revealing that they want the benefits of your presence without the responsibility of honoring your boundaries. That is not reconciliation. It is an invitation to repeat the same cycle. The deeper truth behind all 5 betrayals is that they force you to confront a difficult but liberating reality. Not everyone deserves continued access to your life. Many people have been conditioned to believe that loyalty means staying no matter what, enduring repeated disappointments, and constantly offering chances to those who show little regard for their well-being. But loyalty without discernment becomes self-destruction. Boundaries are not punishments. They are acts of self-respect. They are the practical expression of the belief that your peace, dignity, and emotional safety matter. When you set boundaries, you are not declaring war on others. You are simply deciding that your life will no longer be available to those who repeatedly misuse your trust. This does not mean you become cold or unforgiving. In fact, forgiveness can be one of the most powerful choices you make. It allows you to release the burden of anger and stop carrying the emotional weight of what happened. But forgiveness does not require proximity. It does not demand that you pretend nothing happened, and it certainly does not obligate you to expose yourself to the same harm again. Distance is often the wisest response to repeated betrayal. It creates space for healing, clarity, and renewed strength. It reminds you that compassion for others should never come at the expense of compassion for yourself. If you are currently wrestling with betrayal, ask yourself a few honest questions. Who has repeatedly shown you where their priorities lie? Whose actions consistently contradict their words? Who feels entitled to your trust without demonstrating change? And perhaps most importantly, what would protecting your peace actually look like? For some, it may mean reducing contact. For others, it may mean ending a relationship entirely. In every case, it means believing what behavior is telling you instead of clinging to the hope that someone will become who they have not chosen to be. Here is the truth. Forgiveness protects your peace, but distance protects your future. You do not owe anyone unlimited opportunities to wound you. You do not have to keep explaining why respect matters. You do not have to sacrifice your emotional well-being to prove you are kind. When people show you who they are, believe them. And once you believe them, move accordingly. Your peace is valuable, your trust is precious, and your future deserves to be built around people who honor both.